I grew up in a very Italian family, and there was always a lot of reasons to celebrate. A lot of homemade Italian wine, and as little kids, it was just custom. We'd get a little sip, or get a little Italian wine in our orange soda, or so I really, and that's not, I mean, it was just culture back then, and I developed it. I liked the taste, I liked the feeling, and I found myself drawn to it. So the phenomena of craving set in pretty young for me, and it progressed from where I was just given a little taste here and there to going into my father's liquor cabinet, and I believe that's where I crossed the line. It was okay, so I thought it was okay. I liked the stuff. I liked the warm, glowing feeling that went down. I went from, being given it to stealing it right from the get-go. I'd mix the water in with the alcohol so that nobody really knew that, any level was disappearing from the bottles. I just wanted to escape, a lot of things that happened. It was a setup for me from the get-go to want to escape and to not want to feel. I never liked who I was. I always felt different. I felt like I didn't belong. I was quiet and shy. I didn't say boo. And I found that, it was liquid courage, and that's what you hear a lot about in the halls. It gave me the courage to go out and to intermingle with people. And, I became like the class clown, and I became like the hit of the party. And it just was a way to deal with stuff. And then it progressed and it got worse. I had an uncle who was a doctor, and I had free access to pain medication, anti-anxiety medication, you name it. Back in the early 80s, they used to give, the salesman would come over and give free samples. So he would keep it all in a closet and didn't keep any type of inventory. And my mom just happened to be his medical secretary, and the office was in their house. And I kind of grew up in that house, so it was very easy for me to get access to prescription drugs. So I was on a mission of self-destruction from the get-go. I've lived a life of, depression and victimhood and all that stuff, but always there was a higher power, and I know that, and that's why it wasn't so difficult for me in the beginning. When I got to the program, when they talked about God, not the God that I grew up with, a God of my understanding. High school, I partied, I didn't care. That's the theme of my life was I didn't care. I didn't care about you. I didn't care about me. I didn't care about life. And then later on in my story, I'll tell you when I started to care about life and I started to take things seriously. So anyway, I was on a mission of destruction. I was going to drink myself to death. I was going to take an overdose. I didn't care. I would pop pills. It said, I knew enough to look and see if it said warning, don't mix with alcohol, or maybe habit forming. And if I knew if it said that, those were the good ones, and I better take more. So anyway, I just thought I would end up dying someday. In 1986, I got introduced to the telephone company, and I started working there. And my story of recovery started there in 1989 through the EAP program. I was introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous, and the story, and this is how my higher power works in my life. Up to this point in 1989, I didn't care, and I was drinking, and I was, doing drugs at work. And there was this one woman that whatever corner I turned, she'd be coming in the other way. So like God was putting this woman right in my face, smack in my face. And I eventually found out she was a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. And I was like, oh my God, it was the first sign God gave me that, here's an opportunity. It doesn't have to be that bad. I listened to this woman's story and I was like amazed that she wasn't drinking and she wasn't doing the drugs she used to do. And she was living life and she was enjoying herself and she was, doing all these things. And, here I was thinking, my best bet was I was going to die. And so I went to her and talked to her, and she got me into Mercy Rehab back in 1989. My first meeting down in that basement, it was the drop-in meeting, and there was a room, and there was this whole circle of chairs. And I was sitting there in my pajamas and my little green slippers and the robe, and I was looking down at the ground. And we went around and introduced ourselves. And that was the first time ever that I ever uttered the words, I'm Marianna, an alcoholic. So my recovery started. I really wasn't quite sure, but the one thing that kept me coming back was that first meeting after that drop-in meeting was a speakers meeting, and the hope that I felt in that hall, I can't describe it. There were these people, they were laughing, they were enjoying life and telling jokes and intermingling, and it was nothing that I had ever seen before, because I was so stuck in myself and my disease and the self-pity and the wanting to die and just not caring about life. I used to say that I used to take the Rubik's Cube and I used to try to figure that sucker out, and I would turn it and I would twist it, and and that's what I did in the program. And and I can tell you, there is no other way to do it. It's simple, but it's complicated. You just have to do it. Six years ago for me, something tragic happened, and I learned a big lesson about hope. I even more, and I learned more about my higher power. I'd been sober about, I got sober again in 2010 when I came back in after a ways away from the program, and not going to meetings and not doing the things that I know keep me sober and keep me on a straight and narrow. I used I used everything that I've learned in this program, because I went in to have a knee replacement in 2014. I needed my right knee replaced, and I learned a pretty valuable lesson about my gut instinct and listening to that gut instinct, because inside that's God speaking. And something told me not to let them put a needle in my spine, but I didn't listen to it, and I ended up with blood clot in my spine. They did spinal anesthesia, and a day and a half later, I lost complete feeling below my waist. And I tell you, I really had to rely on this program, the people in this program, my wife, my partner, has been there through thick and thin, and so haven't the people in the program, and that's what, you know, keeps me going. You know, I pray every day. I have this unbelievable faith in my higher power, and you know, the things that that I've been able to accomplish just in the last 6 years. You know, the doctor looked at me after the surgery. I had pins and needles below my waist. He looked at me and said, "I don't know if you'll ever walk again." He said, "I removed the blood clot, but I can't promise you you'll walk." And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, I'll walk again." I said, "You don't know who you're talking to. You know, I have faith. You know, I know with my faith, my higher power, and the people that are in my life, I'm gonna walk again." You know, and I am. You know, 6 years later, even with all this stuff going on, I'm driving again. I got my license, and I got a part-time job. I started working again. Life has just been, it's just been incredible, you know. I've learned through all this crap in my past. At age 49, when this happened, I started enjoying life. It's like I did a 360. You know, I learned that, you know, just the little things in life that we take for granted. You know, I have some physical limitations. I'm in a wheelchair. I have to walk with crutches, and I have to walk with help in the aid of braces. But you know what? I'm not sitting in a nursing home filled with, you know, opioids because I decided to give up. I was given a challenge, and you know, I remember the one thing that I read when I was in New England rehab for 2.5 months learning to walk again. Social media became very important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to do this, is because, you know, I've been stuck in the house, and I know what it's like not to be able to go out and to intermingle. And so everything that I saw on social media in the beginning, there was this one post, and this is what did it for me. And I wrote it down because I'm like, I need to read this because this is what started it for me. You know, there I was, not being able to walk and not knowing what was going on. And somebody had posted this on Facebook. And it said, "Where you are today is no accident. God is using the situation you are in right now to shape and prepare you for the place He wants to bring you into tomorrow. Trust Him with His plan, even if you don't understand it." And I'll tell you what, I did not understand it. I did not understand it, but I was in. I said, "Okay, God, I don't know where you're going with this. I have no idea where this is going to lead, but I am in 100%. I'm going to do what it is you put in front of me to do." And that's the attitude that I had. And I was able to use all the tools that I had in the program to apply them when I was in that rehab and didn't know which way was up. God taught me an important lesson, and that, you know, my life is worth it, and your life is worth it too, and you can do this. I'm honest to God, you know, I've been a doubting Thomas from the get-go, you know, and I've played with this program, and I've twisted it, and I've tried to do it every other way except the one way they ask you to do, and that's the work. You know, you get a sponsor, you start praying, you find a higher power, you know, you get involved in the meetings, you make coffee, you get a job on your home group, you let people get to know you, you know. And that was one of the big things for me early on, is I didn't really, when I was in and out, I never really let anybody get to know me. I didn't want to share at meeting. I didn't want to go to coffee. I didn't, I wanted to get this through osmosis or something. I didn't think I had to do the steps. But when I finally let go and I started doing it, in 2010 when I came back, and that's my sobriety date is June 5th, 2010. I was broken again. I'd gone on a 3-year bender with prescription drugs because of a surgery. And, and there I was again, back at step one. I was just like, I was at this place in South Portland. I had tried to kill myself. And, I had to go to emergency and get my stomach pumped. And, a spiritual experience happened to me, and it got me back into the program, and it got me working even harder. And I'm just so proud of, the program and what it does for people. It gives us life back. We can be active members of society again. Our families, they come back around. When you're living, one of the early things people said was, watch people's feet. You hear them talk from the podium, but watch their feet. When their feet match what they're talking, those are the people you want to be around. My life today is second to none, even though I'm sitting here in a wheelchair. I've had to face some pretty severe things. I've been sick for the last 6 years. I was suffering from chronic urinary tract infections. One of the, things from my the surgery and the injury was I lost my bladder function because of the spinal cord injury and the blood clot. So there are still limitations that I have, but I've been able to learn how to deal with them. If I'm upset and anxious and stuff, all I need to do is just breathe, and take a time out, focus on my breathing and meditate. The answers will come. When I calm my mind, the answers will come, so I know this was kind of all jumbled around, but, I really wanted to focus on what life has become for me. My experience, I had to drink, and go through what I went through to get me to this place that I am today. And I thank God for that. I thank God every day that I wake up and it's like, oh my God, another beautiful day. And I try as best I can to share positive things on social media, because that was big for me. That's where it started, my recovery from the spinal cord injury. So, every day I try to put something out there on social media that's positive, that's encouraging, that gives hope, that amplifies hope. I really loved what you guys did on Facebook about amplifying hope, because, if it wasn't for hope, I would have given up on this a long, long time ago. I'd probably be dead, and I wouldn't be living the life that I'm living today, doing the things that I do. I have, we used to have 5 Shih Tzus. We're down to 1, and a cat. We love to, go for rides and go to the beach and go up to Sugarloaf. I'm really bummed that it's canceled this year, but you know what? We need to stay safe. We need to stay safe so that we can, continue to live and prosper. Recovery is possible if we can continue to amplify hope and people have faith. Great things are possible.